Okay, you ready? Hello, everybody. On this episode of Disabilities Redefined, you are going to meet 4 people who really are redefining disabilities. They are all cool, hip, and using their skills and talents to help others. First, we are going to meet Ahra Sung, a City University of New York superstar. We will then have 2 disability redefining shout-outs. That is something new to our show. Then we will meet a reality TV star, motivational speaker, athlete, and upcoming model actor. You know, what can you say about Robert Rodriguez? He is one of the coolest guys I know, and he actually showed up for an interview not that long ago. Okay, because you told me one time you did not speak until around what time? How old were you?
I was 4 years old when I started talking.
Okay, so when you entered school, what classes were you in when you first entered?
It's like a complicated question because I was in the Birch School, which is a special ed school for students with autism. Before I went to PS 154.
Okay, see, that's what I'm getting at. Okay, so when you were at the Birch School, you worked very hard, and then you ended up in what was it, PS 154?
Well, during the academics, I was struggling academically and socially in the Birch. And then once I went to 154, they put me in a self-contained classroom.
Okay.
They noticed I was working really hard in self-contained, so they transferred me to an inclusion program with different neurotypical students.
Yeah, excellent. And then you did very well, because what happened when you ended up in the what was the Honor Society?
National Honor Society.
Right. What was the scholarship that you won?
The USS Donald Mary Pasatino Scholarship.
Wonderful. And also at York, in this beautiful photograph here. Now, where is this photograph from? Tell us what this photograph was taken from.
This photograph is for the See Us exhibit.
See Us, right? Okay. And what was the See Us?
The See Us exhibit is different photos of students with disability and staff with disabilities in the library.
Right. Okay. And how did you feel being included in that?
I feel like that I've accomplished many things despite my disability, and to show that I can do anything. I can pretty much do anything and continue on.
Yeah, perfect. Great. Okay. And now also the autism walk. You were a captain, what was it? Walk leader, team captain. Okay, yeah, team captain. Yeah, how did you get involved? That's been many years you've been involved with that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you get involved with that?
It was in high school.
Okay.
And I was like researching some walks I can do, and then I found the autism walk that is near my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So I announced it so I showed it to my teacher, and then my teacher and I announced it to the school.
Thanks, Ahra. You know, I really do appreciate Ahra's energy, her enthusiasm, and her dedication to being a great scholar. However, what I also like about Ahra, I like everything about Ahra, but what I can appreciate about Ahra is her progress she's made socially. She actually formed the Anime Club, and as you all saw, she was very eager to speak about that. But it is a social club, but it also has some educational components as well. So let's go back and finish up this interview and hear what this young lady has to say about anime. Who is she?
Anime is Japanese animation.
Okay.
Animation that comes from Japan.
Okay.
Like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon. Those are like the classic anime that a lot of people my age knows.
Right. And you've been involved with anime since how long? How long have you been in,
When I was a baby.
Right. So you can never remember a time without anime. I know sometimes you come to school with it all over you, right?
I was introduced to anime from my family.
Wow, okay, good. Well, you formed you established the first York College Anime Club.
Right.
Yeah, now why did you do that for?
I did it just because I found that some colleges and even libraries have their own anime club.
Okay.
Even Felicity House have their own anime club too. Right now we're talking about the theme of kawaii, which is pretty much means cute in Japanese, but there's a different meaning. There's more than just cute. And every Thursday, we have each club members present their own stuff that they want to discuss. And then, each semester, we go to one convention per semester.
Oh, wow, great. Like, now I think you went to, what was it, Comic-Con? What was the big convention here in New York City? Comic-Con? Say it?
Last semester, we went to Castle Point Anime Con, which was in New Jersey.
Okay. But you also went to Comic-Con, didn't you?
This Comic-Con is coming this Sunday. I'm going this Sunday. But
you will go to it. Okay, yes.
But in this November, next month, there's going to be a big anime convention in New York City at the same place as Comic-Con is.
Okay. Which is where?
Anime NYC at Javits Center.
Great. And is the club going to be there? Or
Yep.
Okay. Perfect.
My club's going to be there. We already got the ticket from the budget, from the school budget.
Wow. Excellent. Okay, now I also hear that you were, and I've had a lot of CCSD students on the show. I love having a CCSD student. What does it stand for?
CUNY Coalition for Students with Disabilities.
And you are involved, right?
Right.
Yes, and what is the purpose of CCSD?
Well, ironically, I got in on the same day I won the scholarship, ironically.
Well, I don't think that's ironic at all, because you won a great thing and then you also got involved with a great thing. So I don't see any irony in that. I think that might just be fate and everything coming together for you, right?
Right.
Yeah. You like working with CCSD?
Yes, I was getting there. I'm getting used to the people there.
Okay, great, great. And what do you all do?
In July, we did the Disability Parade.
Absolutely. I was there.
And we did the Accessibility Conference in April. We did the Disability Conference in the end of April for part of Disability Awareness Month. Mm-hmm. And we go to like different conferences that CUNY gives us.
For all of those students out there, whether they're disabled or not, how important do you think being involved is?
Well, being involved means that you get involved with lots of things. You can help you with your getting a job. It'll help you with your resume, and they'll help you give experience of what's it like being in college and how it will help you for your future.
Okay, when you say help you with your resume, you mean listing your leadership positions and your involvement with clubs.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. Very good point, Ahra. It really is good for your resume as well. How has it helped you socially?
Well, I was in Felicity House, and I was in some CUNY events that helped me get used to people around. Uh-huh. And Felicity House is a women's group for girls with autism. It's right near Baruch College. Mm-hmm. And I go there to de-stress myself or to like communicate with some of my friends there.
Okay, great. And you enjoy going? That's every Friday sometimes, because you come to my office before you go.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Ahra, what advice do you have for students who are entering college, leaving high school and entering college? What advice would you have?
Use many resources that the school offers, such as the counseling center, such as the department, such as the resource center, especially for students with disabilities, if they want to ease the transition from high school to college, and get used to your teachers, and get used to your counselors, and make the best of it. Get tutoring if you need help with schoolwork, because it gets harder as you progress.
Right, yeah. It really does, and I'll have to hand it to you. You've utilized many services, and that's what they're there for, right?
Right.
Yeah, for you all to take advantage of them. What are your plans for the future? Because you're going to graduate soon.
I'm hoping to go to grad school, and I'm hoping I would find a job to help me pay for grad school, or find a job to help me start my career related to my major. I already got support from Access VR, and they said they're going to help me get jobs related to my major. Okay,
great. And you also are doing an internship.
Yes.
On campus, I believe it is, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you like it?
Yeah.
You love the work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's time-consuming, but I'm getting through it.
Okay. Well, listen, I think our final question then would be, do you consider yourself to be a role model?
Well, I'm starting to realize it because of all the accomplishment I made. I'm starting to become like a role model, and maybe I'll be a role model to future students.
You wanted to say hello, somebody out there, whoever it is, say hello to them.
Sue, if you're watching this, hi, I'm on TV.
Do you want to say hello to the Anime Club too?
Hi, Anime Club. Hi, everybody who's watching this video.
Oh.
Hi, Dr. Roby. If you're watching this, I'm in the TV.
Thank you, Ahra. Our first shout out goes to Cheryl Green and her very informative film, In My Home. Cheryl Green was the first place winner in the Free Our Film contest. Cheryl is a multi-talented writer, producer, director, blogger, podcaster, and editor. Her film, In My Home, is a 6-minute, very powerful documentary that expresses why disabled people deserve to live in the community, as well as the problems with being institutionalized. If you would like to see the full film, as well as the second and third place winners, you can go to the Center for Disability Rights website. I personally and professionally loved Cheryl's movie, and you know what? We're going to show a few minutes of it now.
Rowena, she's a ball of energy, one of the nicest social cats, a little sasshole, and I love her. I could never even think about having a pet in the adult foster care home because so many other needs weren't being taken care of. I was in survivor mode all the time.
He's the best dog in the whole world. He's my emotional support.
If we were stuck in a nursing home or institution, we wouldn't be able to have our animals with us.
Good luck, Cheryl, and all the best with your movie. I really loved it, and for all of you out there, take some time to check it out. Now, our second shout out is the mastermind and gorgeous face behind the highly successful YouTube series, FashionMeCurvy. Ashton is using her style, charisma, and good looks to make a difference. She is certainly an internet star. I love her YouTube channel, and we're going to show a few clips just to give you a preview of how special this young woman is.
I feel like I should post a little bit more because I was extremely bullied in school, and I want other people to feel like they're not alone. And if you are being bullied, you should always tell someone, because bullying isn't right and bullying isn't fair. And my school said they were anti-bully, but they weren't very anti-bully. Do what is right and what is fair to you. Okay, so what you really came here today to see is I have a little bit of a makeup haul that I got from Sweden. Don't judge me. They don't like have bags of stuff. So I bought like I didn't buy it. I got like a freezer bag and put my makeup in it from the grocery store, but you know. Okay, so L'Oreal has released this new L'Oreal Paris Matte Lip Paint.
Thank you, Ashton, and I love FashionMeCurvy. Okay, now on to Robert Rodriguez. He is the face of LimbPossible. This guy is amazing. He is doing so much for kids in school, just everyone he comes into contact with. You know, it was funny how it happened. We had planned on having a photo session whenever he showed up, but it was very rainy that night. It was very bad weather. And hey, we were all tired. People started to leave the studio, but Robert, being a trooper, came on anyway. And we made it work. You know, we did have somewhat of a photo session. We had clothes here that Robert eagerly put on. And, you know, it worked to the advantage because Robert's interview was great. He again, just an overall outrageously special person. I cannot show enough gratitude for Robert. So we want to hand over his interview to you. Enjoy it. And what can I say? He's a Superman. First of all, how many sports organizations are you involved with?
I'm a part of 6 sports organizations.
Okay, and what are they? Just very quickly, because we'll talk about it later, but I want to share with the audience something a lot of people don't know about you.
Sure.
Okay.
So I play on 2 sled hockey teams, one that you can see here, the New York Rangers and the Long Island Rough Riders. I'm on Team Wiggle, which is a triathlon team. I'm training with Team USA for sitting volleyball. I'm training for American Ninja Warrior, which I just appeared on this past summer.
Season 9, right?
Season 9, that is correct.
Okay.
I play for the AMP1 basketball team.
Now, just quickly, AMP1 is Amputee 1, is that right?
Amputees, and we are the only stand-up amputee basketball team in the world. Yeah, I think that's about it. If I'm not forgetting anything, I feel like I might be forgetting 1 or 2, but it's okay.
Well, listen, you didn't forget this, and nor did I.
Excuse me, and I'm on the U.S. amputee soccer team.
Yes, okay, soccer. Okay, now basketball, now AMP1 basketball, you brought that up. I think that's what most of us know you as, basketball.
Yes,
we had that conversation. Well, listen, when I was doing my homework with you, on you, what was your involvement with a group called Prophecy? See, most people don't know you were a rap artist.
Yes, yes, sir, yes, sir. So I spent many years, probably from the age of 12, 13 to about 24, 25 rapping. So you can YouTube Chino Vega, ChinoVegaa, and you can kind of see all my videos, performances that I've done, talent shows, things of that nature. So my rap group name was Prophecy, which I actually have tattooed on my arm.
Okay, now it's an acronym, right?
That is correct. Stands for Powerful Revolution of People Helping Each Other Succeed. Why? Because we have to.
Okay.
At the time, I wanted people to respect me for my voice. I knew that they would find out about my leg and my disability. So it was very important for them to respect the talent and the meaning that I had behind my message first. Sure.
Okay, now tell us your story. Okay, now you are an amputee, but that was at birth.
Correct.
Okay, so
So when I was born, I was born with something called fibula hemimelia. I was only amputated at 10 months old, and I'm a below the knee amputee. And so I have my knee joint, very fortunate, and I have a very long residual limb. I didn't have an ankle. I only had 2 toes, no calf muscle, just the tibia bone. So my mother had to make a very hard decision when I was a child. She wanted to either go through bone growthening, I'd either have to go to school with crutches or in a wheelchair. But in 1988, she made the best decision possible, which was to amputate my leg.
Okay, and how old were you at that time?
I was 10 months.
10 months, okay. Now we talked about this briefly. Now you were also very, very popular in school, but you said that you didn't talk about it much.
Sure.
Yeah, what was it like in high school?
Well, school was always interesting. I've always, I guess, tried to fit in as best as possible, but people tell me I'm very charismatic. So I was always cool with everyone. I believe my leg did that to me. So I was always friends with, I guess, the nerds, if you will, or the cool kids. I played sports, so all my friends were the jocks. I'm one of 7 kids, so everyone either knew me or knew my siblings. So I kind of had a name for myself, and I was like this pretty boy with curly hair. And yeah, so some girls took a liking to me, some didn't, you know, especially with a handicap. It wasn't easy, but I made the best do, and like I said, I fit in where I could. So high school, I didn't really allow my leg to hold me back, although it did. I would always keep up a front and have this exterior where I didn't kind of show, you know, if I was hurting or pain, or if you will, don't let them see you sweat. I tried to really carry that through my life.
I think I read that you did not meet your first friend who was another amputee until you were in your late teens, was it?
That is correct. So going through high school again was tough, especially being in Long Island, New York. And at the time, without social media, the internet being as popular as it was, I think in high school, AIM was just really starting to become AOL Instant Messenger. So, you know, there weren't many outlets as an amputee or, you know, support groups, things of that nature, or sports in New York. There's still not that many in New York. So when I was going to my prosthetist at the age of 18, I met a young man named Cameron Clapp. And he's actually missing both his legs below, above the knee and one of his arms. He was drinking, fell asleep on train tracks, and got hit by a train. Wow. So, yeah, it was an amazing story. When he walked in, my face dropped, and when he explained all the things that he had been through and the type of mindset that he's taken on, although he was handicapped or was, you know, kind of overcoming these obstacles, I knew then, of course, what people say, if he can do it, I can do it.
Right.
But that's something that he really explained to me, and that was a turning point. Now, at the time, I still was pursuing to be a rapper, but my eyes were definitely opened, and my antennas were up and paying attention to what was going on around me, and then things started to unfold shortly after that.
You're also an entrepreneur.
Sure.
Okay, yeah. Now, what role does that play in you being an amputee, and what's the goal with that?
So as it's not only as an amputee, it's actually as a young man who's a minority without a college education, with the faith and dedication in my work ethic and the kind of person that I am. So the full-time job, how I support my family, my main income is I work for a prosthetic company. Very fortunate to be a business developer and a patient advocate at East Coast Orthotics and Prosthetics. The way I got that job was I was searching for years, building on my resume, trying to, you know, networking, get my foot in the door, no pun intended, 1 foot, if you will. And it was a great experience trying to work my way in. But the best part about it was when it actually happened, it was more of luck. I was working so hard to get in the industry, and then luckily one day I was taking my son trick-or-treating. This little girl's hopping on crutches. I tell her about all the stuff that I'm doing. She became inspired. She was a hip dysarthritic. She was inspired to wear her prosthesis. 3 days later, her aunt calls my aunt. That's why I was in my aunt's neighborhood taking my son trick-or-treating, and said that she told me about this story, how I inspired her. 2 weeks later, my aunt goes to a birthday party, and this little girl's father's there, and says, you know, thank you to your nephew. He inspired my daughter. I've been trying to encourage her. Her brothers have been trying to encourage her to wear a prosthetic leg, but she does now because she's spoken to your son and sees all the things that, I mean, your nephew, and sees all the things that he's doing. And she said, what's he doing with his life? And I was a manager at a construction company at the time, doing very well, which is part of my entrepreneurship. I actually grossed the company 4 times in revenue, CUNY Construction Incorporated in Long Island, and that was the beginning of my entrepreneurship. I met with this man. He was the owner of a prosthetic company. So the young lady who I just took the time to speak to and to inspire, her father actually owned a prosthetic company, which is East Coast Orthotics and Prosthetics. So here I am working my way up, trying to scrumble, just trying to get an opportunity, and there was one right in my own backyard, and it just took the right day, the right time to kind of capture that moment, and I did. I went in there. They did not have a position for me. They made a position for me. 3 years later, they're my sponsor. They allowed me to travel. They allowed me to do all these amazing things that people get a chance to see me do, and they support me, and then they've allowed me to also create my own business with what you're wearing, which is LimbPossible.
Right, LimbPossible, yes.
Yes.
Now tell us about that, because that's great.
Yes.
First of all, what is the website? I love the website.
Thank you. LimbPossible.com, of course. And we're revamping. I'm doing a complete revamp after the summer, but everybody can go to LimbPossible.com right now. And right now I'm rebranding, resetting things up, but LimbPossible is adaptive training, and we're specializing in getting people and amputees active.
Yes.
It started off because of people with limb difference, but now I work with kids who have CP, autism, and Down syndrome.
Excellent. What is that like when you go and tell your story to kids and their response to it?
When I'm speaking to the youth, to me it's most important, because I was a young man who, again, I moved around a lot. Like I said, I'm one of 7 kids, and I come from a really tough background. My house burned down 2 days before Christmas when I was 3 years old. Fortunately, I lost my grandmother in that fire. My aunt, she has 3rd-degree burns all over her body. And my mom at the time, it's so unique. I just remember my mom picking me up, taking me out the house, running me out the house, and saying, I'm going back in for your leg. Which is because ironic, she wanted to run back into the fire for my prosthesis, because she used to work hard, wait tables, work 2 jobs so I can afford a prosthesis. And now that things have kind of come to full light, the youth, I grew up with all these things, and my handicap wasn't the hardest thing for me. Sometimes it was the trials and tribulations that I went through in life, and that's how I relate to the young kids, because not every young kid is missing a leg or missing an arm or has a disability. So I try to relate to them on the things that I went through as a child, and the obstacles that I had to overcome, and they are the future. Some of these kids are our next politicians, our next president, our next leaders, if you will. So I believe that if I can affect them as much as I can, give them confidence and show them that if I believe in myself, that they should believe in themselves too. And I went through a lot of trials and tribulations growing up, that they can overcome it, and that's very important. And I'm a father of 2 children, so it's very important for me to maybe help these kids, and these kids will eventually help my children.
What would you say to the kids, as well as the parents? I think that's probably something that's also very important. What would you say to parents, perhaps maybe with kids who are amputees, that want to get involved, but yet there might be some hesitation?
So the funny thing is, when I do go to schools, every once in a while I will run into a kid that we don't know, 3rd period, and there's a kid who might be an amputee in the school, which is the most touching thing. But it's not only to kids who are amputees, kids in general. The biggest thing is being confident, and like you said, to the parents, I think it's just the time. It's the time that we spend with each other. One thing that I can say from my mother, she worked 2 jobs. She wasn't always in the house. I had to learn a lot of things on my own, but when we were around and together, she would repetitively just kind of beat whatever thing. I would have to go walk in a room and say hi to everybody. So it didn't matter. People, you can make eye contact. Hello, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? These little mannerisms, I think, are what kind of made me into the person that I am today. So my mother constantly, still to this day, at 30 years old, she's correcting me. I can't say a curse word around her. I can't say anything. And she, the me's to I's or whatever the case may be. So I think that's what it is for the parents, is to kind of even though you get tired sometimes and your child is combative, you got to continue repeatedly just to drill that good information into them. I think that's the first thing. So patience. And for the kids, it's just to be confident and to explore yourself, if you will. Do not be afraid to be who you are. Explore. You have a vision, you have a dream. The one thing I hate are regrets. So I don't ever want to say I wish I would have, or I could have, or I should have. Those are things that I don't like to do. In my heart, if I know it's the right thing to do, then I should just take that jump. Close my eyes, jump. And that's kind of what I think kids need to do instead of worrying about what other people think, especially with social media, the internet, so many eyes
Very
on
good
us.
point.
You know, we're you know, the speculation of and the facade of being someone who we aren't. You know, so I think just be who you are, love life, and don't be afraid to jump.
Right. And now let's move up to teens, maybe going into college, maybe a teen who's interested in getting in a sport.
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
What advice do you have for that age group?
For that is try new things. My mother, again, here we go with another lesson. My mother, we would go away every summer, and every summer might be a different country, or you know, we would go to Anguilla, or St. Martin, or Jamaica, or Bahamas, or Turks and Caicos. Very fortunate that my mom would go literally in debt so we can go on vacation sometimes. For a few years we did that, and I wouldn't be able to not try any food. So if there was a food, if I didn't like the way it smelled, if I didn't like the way it looked, if I didn't like the way the name sounded, she would make me try it. You always have to try something. And when you do try, she wouldn't let me quit either. Just like karate. I took karate when I took karate a few times, but the first time I took karate, I wanted to quit. Whether I hated it or not, she made me just go through the whole term.
Right.
So there's no quitting, and you always had to try new things. And that's what I think for college kids, going into school, try new things, get involved. You might be an athlete, but maybe you need to be a part of, you know, the student body. You know, so try new things, get involved with new people, you know, and that's it.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Ashton. And thank you, Ahra. What can I say? I love doing this show. I love having guests on. I love the new shout-out section that we put together. And I will be in touch with you. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and look for our upcoming website. I am Dr. Truett Wagner, signing off. Thank you for joining us.